So, here today at the Veterans of Foreign Wars building. So it's just where some of the veterans hang out, and so we'll be interviewing one today.
Ed Bellendier. I'm 88 years old. I'll be 88 in August. And I was in World War II. I was in the infantry, and I was wounded. I have a combat infantry badge, which shows on my hat.
Okay, so I'll start out with that.
Okay, yes.
What were you doing before you joined the military?
Well, I just graduated from high school.
Where?
In Iowa.
Iowa? Okay.
I graduated when I was 17 years old. I was drafted when I was 18. So shortly after that, I was in the Army.
Did you go with any of your friends?
No, I was drafted. Well, there were friends who were drafted at the same time.
Okay.
It was a group of.
Did any people that you knew enlist that wanted to fight?
Oh, my brother enlisted. He enlisted just a few days after Pearl Harbor Day.
And so, how did you feel about Pearl Harbor?
Oh, I was
Your reaction?
thrilled to go. I mean, that to me was just something that I wouldn't miss. My dad was in the Army during World War I.
Okay.
So he told me a lot of things about it. So I look forward to going. Of course, at that time, there was a lot of patriotism.
Yeah,
So
I imagine.
everybody was willing to go. There was no problem.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
And so, why the Army infantry?
Well, that was where they put me. That was when I was drafted. I had no choice. They put me where they needed me at the time.
And then, what did you think it would be like once you joined them?
Oh, I had a pretty good idea of what it was like. I mean, I was living in Iowa. We used to do our hunting. We always had a rifle, shotgun,
Yeah.
and listening to my dad talk a bit about it. So I was pretty well
Idea.
aware of it.
Okay. So, where did you go?
Went to France.
France first. So you took a plane?
Oh no, no plane in them days. They were on an old, this bitty boat that took 14 days to get over to France.
Right. And so what did you remember of the brand new location? France?
To me, everything was a big thrill. Everything was different and new. It was something I always looked forward to. I had never been really. I didn't know the United States. I spent the majority of most of my life, or all of my life, in Iowa, and after I got drafted, I went down to Florida. I'd never dreamed of being able to do that, and got on a ship and sailed across the ocean to France, and it was all a big thrill. It was a big thrill, really.
And so, did you travel to any other places?
Well, after I ended up in England because I was wounded. I flew. That was the first time I'd ever flown or in a plane, and I flew from Paris, France, to England, and I spent quite a few months in the hospital.
How'd you get wounded?
The guy shot me.
Where?
Right there.
Really?
Right there. And I was left up in the lines. So this happened at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was left up in the lines. I had to lay there all by myself, passing out now and then until it got dark. And this was in the end of November, 27th of November it happened. And so as soon as it got dark, I couldn't leave because it was very close to the German lines. And so I laid there until it got dark. Got up, got out of the hole, and couldn't walk very far at a time. My breath wouldn't last very long. But I walked all night, off and on, waded creeks and everything else. So I got back, and at noon the next day, somebody found me and took me to the hospital.
Yeah.
And ended up in Paris. So those were the things that you remember. Now, how could I ever got to, at my age in those days, how could I ever get to Paris?
Yeah. And then flying in a plane, like you said.
It was the first time I'd ever been in an airplane. And, so to me, it was a very pleasant experience, all told.
What was the one most memorable experiences?
Oh, I think it was just, well, being in the infantry. That was what I'd always dreamed of being, you know, in the Army and in the infantry. And I think that was the most memorable part of being in the Army, was that I was in the infantry.
Did you make any friends?
I wasn't in one outfit long enough to I've made friends, but a lot of them are dead or were killed, but I never did see any after when I got wounded. From then on, they were gone. See, when I got wounded, I lost all the addresses I had, so I didn't have anybody to get in touch with.
And so you said you were awarded a medal?
Well, I got the Purple Heart. Purple Heart, that was because I was wounded. And the Bronze Star. That was.
Give it to you?
It was just something that they gave me, I guess.
And you were given an infantry?
The infantry badge. This was a badge.
Okay.
That was a combat infantry badge.
So you got that. Okay. So, like, for everyday life over France, did you get any letters from home?
Oh yeah, I used to get letters. Not very often, but they had mail service when I first got over there. But after I got to combat, very, very seldom would they ever catch up with you. I got letters that were written to me after I got out. That people wrote to me.
What did you want to say back? Did you write back to some of the letters?
Oh yeah, I always wrote back. I remember when I finished basic training down in Florida, I got on a train. I got a what they call delayed route. I had 2 weeks off, so I got to go home. But the reason it was a delayed route, it was delayed to where I had to report to South Carolina to the infantry division that I joined. And I met a girl on the train. The conductor, or the brakeman on the train, was evidently a very, very nice guy. He put me in a car all by myself. And first stop out of Jacksonville, Florida, there was a girl there, and he put her on the coast with me. So I had a pleasant time to talk to her for an hour or so. She was going into Louisiana, and we got acquainted. So I used to write to her. She wrote to me, but I lost her address when I got wounded.
How did you like lose them as you're being reported off to the hospital?
Oh yeah, well, somebody stole my billfold. I had a billfold with all the addresses and everything, and either that or they stuck it under my shoulder or something, and when they transferred me onto a train or something, they forgot the billfold or something. So I have no addresses or anything. I couldn't get in touch with it.
And so what was the food like?
The food?
So, yeah.
I've never complained about it. Didn't do no good anyway. But we had mostly overseas. We had mostly just rations, sea rations.
But did you always have enough food?
Oh yeah, I never.
What were the other like supplies and equipment that you saw? Like any cool food? Like France.
Oh, that was the most marvelous thing in the world. It just, you can imagine, 18 years old, and you know, back in those days, the chances of me ever getting to France were so slim that it was just impossible. But here all of a sudden, here I'm just an 18-year-old kid, and I'm in France. I enjoyed that immensely. It's just something that I'll never forget.
Being able to travel. What was it? Since you said it was November in France, right?
November. That's when I got wounded.
So it was like cold during that time.
Oh yeah, it was cold.
Did it snow?
Yeah, it snowed, not much, but it did snow. Yeah, I waited in snow. And when I got wounded and had to walk back, and wade cricks and water was very, very cold. My feet froze. But I never thought of that, you know, the idea that I was wounded so. But the thought of dying or something never entered my mind. Never. I knew that I was going to be all right. I was still up on my feet and going.
Keep walking. Were you ever homesick?
Oh no. You didn't have time for that.
Imagine being excited with the traveling.
Yeah, I did a lot of traveling in the short while. I actually wasn't in the service very long. I was 18 on the 28th of August, and I was wounded on the following year on the 27th of November. So I was 18 months in the service.
Okay. Did you bring anything from home with you?
No, there wasn't much to. I remember I had my dad sent me a pocket watch that I looked forward to getting, but I never got it. Somebody stole it.
Was just a lot of stuff stolen?
Oh, I don't know.
It's like between you and the mail.
Yeah. Well, if the package was broken open, I don't think anybody would steal anything if the package was sealed.
Yeah. Did you have any good luck charms or
No,
anything you did before?
no, I didn't need one of those.
How'd you pass the time? Well, I guess with the hospital.
Well, in France, when we first got over there, then it was just, see, the war, let's see, D-Day was the 6th of June.
Yeah.
I got there on the 1st of September. So the war was not too far from the coast. So when we landed, we spent a couple of weeks down in camp until the general could go up and meet with the, that's what they said, the general had to go up and see the big wheel about where he wanted to go and everything. We went up and joined the
New LMA Smart Shave Mousse is like smooth, velvety magic.
we went right directly up. We rode the trucks, back at the end of the trucks, and we went right up to the front. When we could hear guns going off while we got off the trucks, and dug holes and got ready for war.
Yes. Yeah. With the.
It was all experiences that were just. I actually enjoyed all of it. I mean, it was something I always looked forward to all my life. My dad used to tell me things about the Army and World War I. And
Did your brother write home?
oh, my brother was in the Marines, and he entered the service just a few days after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
He was 3 years older than I was, and he spent. Well, he was. Guadalcanal was the first island, and he was in on taking Guadalcanal. So he was over there until he was one of the first ones in Japan.
But now that I know, I will let it
So he made it through the whole.
He made it through it all unharmed.
Did he ever like talk about that?
No, he never talked to him. The only thing is, he used to go to the reunions, and a couple of times, well, one time in particular, the reunion was in Arizona, so I flew into there. I met a lot of his, and they did a lot of talking about it.
And then so, did you ever come home? Or did you, because of the hospital? Did you?
No, I spent, well, when I come back to the United States, I laid in the hospital, well, at the end of November, 1st of December, I got addicted. And I was there until May, I guess, April, May. So when I come back, I ended up in Colorado, the hospital there. And then I got a 30-day furlough from there. While they were waiting, because they were going to discharge.
Okay. Do you remember VE Day when the war ended?
Oh yes, very much so.
Where were you?
I was home,
Okay.
and there were a few guys my age, friends of mine, that were on leave at the time. So we celebrated.
How did you celebrate?
Put our uniform on and went around town and talked to a lot of people.
And what did the end of the war mean to you? I mean, like, since you wouldn't be able to?
Well, it meant that I had to go to work. I had to find a job.
So did you go to school?
No. I graduated from high school before I went in school. That's all the schooling I had. I had to go to work.
What did you do?
Well, I used to work for John Deere tractor machine shop. And I worked there for a few years, and I learned a pretty good trade. And then I come out to California and went to work in the aircraft. So I worked here for 36 years in the aircraft.
Why California? Just,
Well, at that time, the best jobs were in there. And the only place when I worked for John Deere's, they were, well, every year we used to get laid off. Around Thanksgiving, Christmas. So at the time, I had another guy, a schoolmate. In fact, he's sitting right over there. We decided to go to California. Best thing that ever happened. I got this nice warm weather.
from Iowa.
When we left Iowa, it was 15 below zero.
So it was a welcome change.
Yes.
And then, is there anything else that you want to say to
No,
on your experience?
all in all, my time in the Army, I can't complain about it whatsoever. I mean, it was about what I expected, and there was a lot of it that I enjoyed. So my time in the service, I can't complain about it at all.
So why not take the next step and learn the way to prepare for a creative future in the culinary arts? A future that's anything but ordinary. Make the culinary
Okay, I think that's good. So, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.